Is it on? Maybe a little bit more volume? Or is that just my volume? No, it's green. Can I get everybody's attention? We're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everybody here. I'm Laura King, and I'm here to teach you a little bit about your brain. I am a hypnotherapist and a motivational speaker and an author. And what I like to do is teach you how you can manage your stress. How many people in here think you can manage what stresses you? That's why we're here. So you can learn what it's all about. You can learn the process of how your brain works. Now, how many people in here love the word hypnosis? Oh, I got some hands coming up. Thank you, thank you. Because usually what happens is that the mind doesn't realize that you can actually retrain your brain. So what we're going to do today is learn how you can retrain your brain to handle stress. Now, we know stress is out around us. We can't handle what's happening out there, but we can handle how we perceive it and how we react to it. So I think the mind has to be understanding that stress is also a habit. Do you know somebody that doesn't really let things bother them? They're not really stressed. They handle things that kind of go with the flow. Because really, to change a habit, is that easy? No, it's not. Not when you're using your conscious mind. There are 4 blocks that we have for change. It is most of it, what happens in our brain happens from the subconscious level. The subconscious level is the part of the brain that is your hard drive. And you can access the subconscious mind and change it with the techniques I'm going to teach you here today. And I also gave every one of you a present. It's a self-hypnosis CD. You can go to sleep with it. It helps you sleep better. Or you can use a power nap with it. It helps you de-stress. It's my voice and some music in the background. The music is to the beat of your heart and helps you relax also. By using the CD, you can increase your sleep habits. I put you to sleep. I work at the Sari Asher Center over at Palm Beach Oncology, and a lady heard another lady in the hallway saying, well, she's great to sleep with. And the other lady walks over to me and says, are you that boring? I said, no, I think my voice just has a nice tone to it, and the music helps you relax, so the sound of my voice relaxes you. And then I use certain techniques that I have learned. The reason I spend so much time really promoting hypnosis is because hypnosis saved my life 37 years ago from depression and suicide. My 3rd attempt at suicide, my parents decided that Palm Beach Institute and all the drugs just weren't working. And they found a hypnotherapist. And this lady saved my life. Now, I never thought I was going to be a hypnotist. I actually went to college to be an interior designer. So now I say I do the interior design of your brains. And it works. So years later, I raised my family and thought that when my kids would go to college, I would go to California and work with the lady who saved my life. She passed away 13 years ago, and somehow at the funeral, I got handed the torch. Came home from the funeral, and I said to my husband, I can't do this. There's no way I can get up and speak in front of people or hypnotize somebody or record my voice. I couldn't even speak to my 9-year-old Girl Scout troop. He looked at me and says, well, if hypnosis works, you can get hypnotized to do it all. Guess what happened? I went to hypnosis school. My first day of internship, I had a panic attack at the age of 42 or whatever, how old I was, 43? Didn't even know what a panic attack was. I did not hypnotize anybody that day. So I laughingly say that I was kept after school, and I was hypnotized after class that day, and the next day I hypnotized 5 people in a row, and I pretty much haven't stopped since. And that's been about 13 years I've been in practice. I've built my practice in Palm Beach County. I have an office in Lake Worth and one in Gardens, and have spent 4 years working for the Sari Asher Center at the Palm Beach Oncology. A year ago, my daughter, who is around 30, was going through a divorce, and she worked at a law firm in Miami. She came to me, she says, I want to change professions. I said, okay. She says, I want to be a hypnotherapist. I went, really? Pretty cool. So she spent this year going to training and everything. Now she's joined my practice. And what I want to teach you is that as we go through this process, you are going to learn some tools and techniques that you can do yourself. It's easier, though, by hitting play on the CD player. So what I do teach you is about your brain, about your subconscious mind. You're going to hear me talk about the subconscious mind a lot. It's literal. It doesn't distinguish between imagination and reality. Have you ever worried about something and made a mountain out of a molehill? So what we use is hypnosis and NLP techniques to make molehills out of mountains. The same things that you're doing already. I just teach you how to do it in a more productive way. So knowing that we know the parts of the brain that you're going to learn today, therefore learned responses that you have learned can be changed. Bruce Lipton is a researcher who has proven that in our brains that our DNA is learned behavior. Not as much the cellular structure of hereditary gene, but learned from birth until 9 years old, you form a lot of your programming. I like that being part of what they've learned because that means I can help people reprogram it, change it. One lady came to me and we're making all these changes. She says, you're manipulating my brain. And I went, yeah, isn't that what you asked me to do? She goes, oh yeah, I'm doing everything I told you, aren't I? Well, you know, if you think about it, I can't control anybody. I can't take control of any human being. Not one hypnotherapist on the face of the earth can make someone do something they don't want to do. I want to get rid of that misconception right off the top of the chart here. So what we know, we can change learned behavior. This is the principles of allowing the change in your life so you can make these changes. Now, the reason I gave y'all all a printout of the PowerPoint presentation so you can go back over the notes, plus there's some notes in there that you will want to go use in your own life of what I'm teaching you here. The brain, a natural computer. They cannot make a computer as strong as our brains. Technically, we all have a photographic memory. We see it, we hear it, we write it, we think it, we know it. It's learning how to recall it. You see and say and hear about 125,000 or 350,000 words and images a day. That's a lot of stuff, isn't it? And it all goes in the brain. And hypnosis can help the state of your concentration. It can help you learn and concentrate better, recall better, relax your muscles, and it can give you different reactions to distractions. You can block out distractions. So we know the 12% is the conscious mind, 88% is the subconscious mind. So imagine the 12% is the monitor. 88% is the hard drive. One is not good without the other. You have to have both, just like you do with your computer. So the conscious is the 12%, the subconscious is the 88%. Let's really talk about the conscious mind for a moment. It's your rational, analyzing, thinking mind that's sitting there listening to me right now and forming an opinion, thinking it through, and it's drawing in your thought processes information that you might have heard about hypnosis before from your working memory. Your working memory gives you the information that comes from the subconscious mind, and the working memory allows you to come up with your own opinion. Then if your own opinion isn't congruent with what I'm saying, you'll get a little resistance, like fingernails on chalkboard. Then you say to yourself analytically, well, wait a minute, she's here telling me something, maybe I can learn. Maybe she has something to say. It worked for her and it works for others. So then you have your own thoughts created by that information. Then you form an opinion. Your willpower is in 12%. Has anybody ever tried to make a change in their lives? did it for a couple of days, and then on the third day, back to the same old way you were doing it? It's because habits are stored in 88% of your brain. So we know that through this process that the short-term, that willpower is short-lived in that short-term part of the brain, the 12%. The subconscious mind. Self-preservation, that's the part of everyone's brain that keeps them safe from a hypnotist being able to hypnotize them against their will or what they don't want. It's the part of you that swerves to miss the car when you're driving. It's the part of you that takes care of yourself. That part of the self-preservation is your willingness to understand that you do most things out of self-preservation. Whether it's coming from the 88 misprogrammed or program that's not working for you, it's still coming from there. Your long-term memory, your emotions, and your habits are all in that subconscious mind part of the brain. Remember this. 88% of your brain is literal. It has zero analytical rational reasoning ability. I repeat that quite a few times because I want you to really get where stress is housed. 97% of what you do every day is by habit. How many of y'all woke up this morning and went, oh, it's Tuesday, I better wear clothes to leave the house? No, you just got dressed and left, didn't you? Or got in your car and decided maybe it was a good idea to drive on the right-hand side of the road. No, it's habit. 97% of what you do every day is by habit. You function that way. You think that way. Stress is connected to a lot of habitual habit patterns that are created in your brain of what causes you stress. The phone ringing, boss walking in the door, a deadline. All those things do what in your subconscious mind? Cause and effect. So we really want to look at the subconscious mind, and every time you hear a cell phone ring, you feel good about yourself. That was a good anchor, wasn't it? People always get worried when their cell phones ring when they're in my office and I'm hypnotizing them. And I go, well, every time it rings, you just feel good. Just let it keep ringing. So now every time your phone rings, you feel good. I had a doctor that in town years ago, and he was in there, and his phone started ringing, so I'm trying to reach over and get it off the thing to turn it off. I could see the button. It was the old phone, so you push the button on the top. About 2 weeks later, he calls in my office and says, Laura, I've got to talk to you. And I'm like going, okay. He gets on the phone, and he said, do you know what you did to me? And I'm like, did what you asked me to do. He says, every time my phone rings, I feel good. Did you know I hated my phone ringing? I went, no. But I use that with everybody. Because usually a lot of people have a negative connotation to the phone ring because it might be an emergency, it might be something wrong. So from now on, y'all, every time you hear a phone ring, you remember I said that. So the subconscious mind is automatic and operates without judgment. It stores whatever conscious mind tells it, and it works to achieve it. So in mindset, what they say about a habit pattern takes 21 times to change a habit. But the secret with that is the 21 times have to be exactly the same way, done 21 times, and the habit will change. With hypnosis, it's only a couple times. What is hypnosis? You go into altered states of consciousness. When you daydream, you're hypnotizing yourself. We can call hypnosis guided meditation, guided imagery, or daydreaming. Daydreaming is usually positive, but a lot of people daydream about what is wrong or what they're worried about. Then when they're daydreaming about what they're worried about, what happens? They reinforce what they're worried about, and then they get a physical reaction. So when you are using relaxation or hypnosis, right now we're talking on the beta level of the brain. That's fully consciousness. The hypnotic state is an alpha state, which is where you go and you pray, meditate, and do yoga. Really deep hypnosis is down at the theta level where you get REM, the rapid eye movement. That's where my CD will take you. That's why you get good sleep, because it'll take you down at a delta also. So this is what your brain does. The critical factor that I mentioned, as I mentioned that's the filter. That's why things don't all go in your brain at the same time, and how you can categorize things, you can see how you're going to feel about things. It judges all suggestions, and it protects you from what you don't believe in. It protects you from what you hold in the subconscious mind, because you have the beliefs in the subconscious mind. You got to see what you're hearing, where it correlates or is common ground with. It doesn't allow opposing beliefs into the subconscious mind before you analyze it to see where it's going to go. You should see the responses I get when I mention the word hypnosis. Not as much so in today's world, but when I became a hypnotherapist 13 years ago, people go, "Don't look at me." And I go, "What am I going to do? You know, you don't want me to talk to you because I'll relax you." But the mindset is the concept. And opposing ideas put into the subconscious mind is uncomfortable. To tell you that you can be more relaxed and serene during all your waking and sleeping hours, and you can actually go to work and enjoy it and not be stressed at work, wouldn't that be nice? To think about how you want to de-stress. Benefits: increasing your relaxation, enhancing focus and concentration, and allows the mind to have positive suggestions. It's kind of like this: my words become your words, my thoughts become your thoughts, not because they're mine. I'm just a facilitator, sharing with you and paying forward what somebody did for me. In that concept, you can learn this, and it helps you have changes in your behavior. Positive hypnotic suggestions reduce stress. It's funny, I was reading a magazine yesterday, I was flipping through the pages, and there was this thing, how to de-stress at work. Close your eyes and imagine being at the beach. Open your eyes, you're going to feel better. Hypnosis, guided imagery. Bypassing the conscious mind. This is what we do. When you bypass the critical factor, you're getting into the mindset, the goals that not only are possible, but they become your reality. Came home from hypnosis school and I lost 45 pounds with hypnosis. I had been on a yo-yo. I had been on every diet program known to man, and had even had plastic surgery. Did everything to keep that weight off, and every time I did, I gained the weight back. Now, for the first time in 13 years, I started gaining a little weight recently, but I'm still eating healthy. I'm still doing everything. So I kept going to the doctors. I know something has to be wrong. You're eating too much. I go, no, I'm not. I know what I'm doing. You know, maybe it's cysts. They had me test everything. Finally, they found a cyst on my thyroid, and he said, well, the first symptom of that is weight gain. I went, I know my body so well. So, you know, you find that out, and if, like me, I didn't have that before, so the weight was what I believed to be a hereditary gene. So I was a Boynton by maiden name, so I thought, since the Boyntons, my dad was overweight, my aunt was overweight, my grandmother was overweight, so I was told, well, you have the Boynton gene, don't worry about it, you're just going to be fat and depressed. I went, thanks. So at hypnosis school, I'm sitting in class, and I hear that hereditary gene, Bruce Lipton has proven that it doesn't have to be that. That I can actually reprogram my brain to only eat the healthy foods that are conducive and conductive to weight loss and keep it off. Except I didn't have in there the thyroid problem, but I got to write in your CD. But the mind can be reprogrammed. I got programmed to speak. I got programmed to hypnotize people. I got programmed to record my voice. So it is the programs that you choose. Now, we mentioned the misconceptions as I was talking through my speech, that there are so many misconceptions. One is that I might make you bark like a dog or cluck like a chicken. In 37 years, I've never seen anybody bark or cluck. I did have a kid ask me if I could make her cluck every time her mother told her to pick up her clothes. I went, no. I draw the line there. I will not do that. I did stop her from biting her nails and a couple other things. And it's concept, I can't be hypnotized. If you go in and out of it all the time, everybody's hypnotizable. The only requirement is you need a brain to think, to follow instructions. That's really my only requirement. My type A's come in there and they, oh my gosh, you can't hypnotize me. But I go, why'd you come? He says, because I heard you can help me. Okay, I can help you. As soon as I relax them and I merge them, wow, that was pretty cool. The first time I've ever relaxed. Because it's just a misconcept. That you never come out of hypnosis. This is my favorite one. There has never been a case at any hospital on the face of the earth where somebody showed up and says, I'm in hypnosis, could you get me out? Because it really is just a state of relaxation. What will happen to me? Who will control me? No one can control you. Remember that. That's only sleep deprivation and torture. I do neither one of those. I do have people who would like me to, but I refuse. The reason all this works, I'm going to put the puzzle pieces together right here. The natural laws of the mind, you are what you think. You are the thoughts. You get what you think. And what tends to be realized becomes what you become. Every thought causes a physical reaction. Ever thought something sad and cried? Have you thought something happy and laughed? The brain does this and gives you those feelings attached to how you are programmed to that event or to that response. I had my first case this week. A lady comes in and she cries at everything. She's talking to me, she's bawling. She tells me a happy story, she's crying. She tells me a sad story, she's crying. Now, she wants to go to church for Easter and not cry. That's her reason for coming to me. And she's tired of her children teasing her. Now the grandkids are teasing her. One session, I will tell you a little blurb I did. It's kind of funny. I'm hypnotizing her. I think, oh, this is going to be easy. I'll just turn the faucet off in her eyes, and she'll stop crying, only when she needs it, when she wants it, if she's sad or something. Then I'm hypnotizing and go, if I turn the faucet off, she's not going to have tears on her eyes. Oh my gosh, that's not a good idea. And I had not researched it because I didn't know what she was coming for. So I tell her that she's going to be okay this week and that she's going to notice a lessening of the crying. But that first sentence, I said that she would have dry eyes. She comes in the next week, because her 2 weeks, so she was in this week. She looks at me, she says, really weird, I had dry eyes. I went, I know I told you that. I said, so I printed out which ducts in the eye do what work. So you have 3 different eye ducts. One is the only one for crying. That's the one I had to turn off, not the other 2. So, I have to learn a lot when I do different things too, because the brain controls everything. Your imagination's more powerful than knowledge. So right now, I want everybody to take a nice deep breath and close your eyes. As you close your eyes, I want you to just take a little break. And I want you to imagine that you are in your kitchen. There's your refrigerator. There's your countertop. And I want you to imagine walking and imagine, visualize, or pretend. Whatever you need to do to kind of get a thought processing that you're in your kitchen. Walk over to the refrigerator and open your refrigerator door. There, on the shelf, is a big, plump, juicy lemon. You can tell how plump it is. You can see it's kind of fat. You can just tell it's fresh. I want you to reach in and grab that lemon and breathe and relax. Take that lemon, shut the refrigerator door, walk over, and on the counter is a cutting board, your favorite cutting board. And right there is your favorite knife. Go ahead and cut that lemon. You can smell the lemon. You can see the juice running on the cutting board. You can tell it's really juicy. Now pick up that piece of lemon that you just cut and take it up and take a bite of it in your mouth and taste how sour that lemon is. You can smell it. You can taste the sourness. It's so sour, it just makes your lips pucker, makes you salivate, makes you swallow. It's just so sour. You can really taste it, feel it, smell it. Now open your eyes. How many people saw their kitchen? How many people saw a fat lemon on the shelf? How many people smelt it? How many people saw the juice on the counter and then picked up the lemon and put it in the mouth and actually tasted something sour? Now, each one of those things, if you tasted it, you're very feeling and kinesthetic. If you saw it, you're very visual. If you smelt it, you're kinesthetic because you felt it and smelt it. You were all just hypnotized. There were no lemons in this room. You just really used your imagination to see some part of that. And each part of that is the way that your brain works, and that's your imagination. Whether you're visual, whether you pretended it, whether you just thought your way through it. Like, I don't see exactly the refrigerator, I just know what my kitchen looks like. But I can sure taste the lemon. Just doing it with you, I'm swallowing. I can smell it. And I do a lot of processing to teach the people how to go through this. So that's the imagination's powerful, the knowledge, because we didn't have a lemon in this room. And the fourth law that's really important for us because of stress is that your habits are your life. Remember I said 97% of it? Realizing that you follow the same path all the time. You react the same way. Now, next time you take a shower or bath, notice how you do it. Do you wash your hair first, your face, your body? Do you stand with the shower coming this way or the shower coming this way? Well, I'm short. If I stand this way, I might drown, so I usually stand this way. What's funny, we did that test one time. Now I step in and I practice the other way. Practice doing it different. See how it feels. Because the pathways of your brain can do this processing. This is one of my favorite slides. It comes from some of my NLP training from England. That's why behavior is spelled that way in meta programs. But I love it, and I haven't been able to recreate it without messing it up. So I want to go through it with you. External events are what are around you. Now, the external events can be what you see, what you hear, what you smell. They go into your brain. You have values and beliefs, language, memories, decisions, time coding, meta programs. This is all the stuff that has been placed in your brain from your life of ways to respond to things, ways you were raised, ways your parents did things, ways teachers taught you. And then your brain, the filter systems, either delete them, distort them, or generalize them. And they go into compartments in the brain, into an internal representation that causes an effect. Then it comes and gives you a state, how you feel, how you react, and what you choose to do. It's a physical mindset of what you have a response to. And then that gives you your what? Your behavior. To think about the impact of realizing all these programs, and then that center part of the values, the beliefs, the mega programs and the decisions can be reprogrammed to what you want them to be. One of the things that I worked on was avoiding sodas. What do I hypnotize a lot for? I hypnotize a lot to avoid cigarettes, to stop smoking, to stop eating sugars, pasta, breads, fattening foods. So you get hypnotized, you change your program of your automatic response of the food you like. Well, I had this real eye-opening when I did all this stuff and I was making the CDs and writing everything, and I started losing weight when I was creating the program, and I'm like, wow, it's pretty cool. And I grew up here, so I'd go in Russo's and always order the Russo sub. How many people have ever had a Russo sub? It's like one of the best subs on this earth. I go and I order my husband's sub, and then I go, and I want a spinach salad and a scoop of tuna. And I went, who said that? But that's what I wanted. They don't make it anymore, so I don't go to Russo sub anymore. But my mind had changed what it desired. I had changed my program. And it sticks. So the impact of what we do here is so you have ability to focus better, ability to learn easier, and it helps in relationships. I tell everybody I've been married 29 years, and that's my third husband. Yes, he gets hypnotized all the time. He does the dishes, does the grocery shopping, no, just kidding. But he and I used hypnosis 15 years ago in our marriage. We went to another hypnotist and did some counseling work for relationships, and that's why we're still married. We had a couple of hiccups a few years ago, and I said, well, do you want to go back? And he says, no, bring home what you do. You just tell me. Or put a different CD in the CD player, and we'll get through this. So it's really wanting that balance in everything that you do. Balance with yourself, balance with who you work with, balance with your significant other, balance in your life. That gives you your relationships. So changing attitudes. Think about what your attitude is about things. The attitude comes from what? The subconscious mind's opinion and information that was created by what you learned. So NLP is what I'm going to introduce you to now. It's a process of using these techniques and tools to change your subconscious mind. NLP is wake hypnosis. It was created by a hypnotist, so they didn't have to use the dirty word hypnosis. When I started practicing 13 years ago, I let that be my number one source of wanting to change everybody's minds, and I'm working on it. I didn't make it to Oz, but a friend of mine from California, so now Dr. Oz even promotes hypnosis at least once a week. He has something to use hypnosis for. I don't get to see it, but I heard about it. Accessing the subconscious mind is easy. Through all the techniques I've told you, neuro-linguistic programming is the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I want you to realize something. All we are as human beings are words. You're nothing more than the definition of the word that you learned and what that definition is. You are words. So my programming is not working. There. So what we know, the process comes to the neuron, referring to the mind, and the connection to the body. The linguistic is the potential of changing the language of how you think of that word, how you want to change the word stress in your life, how you want to have a different way to program the patterns of your brain, to program your brain to be successful, to program your brain to handle situations. The brain, the owner's manual of your brain is being able to use these techniques, because what we do is we can visualize and model the way we want it. To see yourself, this is an exercise I put in here that you can use. If you have a pen, circle that, because you can practice this for any situation. To see your job with ease and poise and confidence. To memorize your body's position, how to act. How do you want to think about it? What do you want to feel? If you want to change it, you can do this exercise. I gave it to you so you didn't need me. You can do it yourself. But make sure you make it positive. And avoid the words don't and not. That's not a slide in here, and I need to add it. 88% of your brain doesn't hear don't or not. Don't think about the white horse. How many people thought of a horse? Mine has a long mane and tail. This is scientifically proven. One of my things I want to do in this world is change all the signs that say don't drink and drive. We're telling the whole world to drink and drive. As soon as I told my son to avoid drinking and driving, he quit. Avoid is the word you want to memorize. If you really intellectual, rational reasoning, don't want someone to do something, use the word avoid. Or say it the way you want it. Put your clothes up. Drive sober. Those are the mindsets. So you can practice. This is visualizing and modeling is what we call it in NLP. The theater of your mind is what you do when you visualize. You become the director and the star of the movie by using the theater of the mind to create the outcome and narrate it the way you want it. If you have a presentation to go do, practice inside of your mind going and doing it and how it's going to look like, how you're going to feel, and then tell yourself that you are going to be able to create that image and think it and feel it the way you want to feel it. It's amazing. Because when you get there to go do the presentation, you're actually going to feel it. My only problem with today, I visualize myself in the room across the hall. Kind of like this room. This is kind of nice. Anchoring. We all have a lot of anchors in our life. A red light is an anchor to stop. When you see a red light, you don't go, oh, there's a red light. I think I need to lift up my foot and put on the brake. Red light, you automatically put on the brake most of the time, except for in South Florida. Some people forget that. I actually had a man fly in from New Jersey. He had gotten so many tickets for running a red light. He came to be hypnotized to stop at red lights. He called me 3 weeks later. He says, I haven't gotten a ticket. Thank you, Laura. I stop at every red light. Yeah, it needs it. I know. Would be a good idea. Oh my gosh. So anchoring is a technique to respond to the association and an automatic response. The conscious mind can't stop the reaction. It's an automatic response. So the automatic response has to be coordinated with what you want it to be. Like wearing clothes to leave the house is an automatic response. A good one, I think. And then we teach circle of excellence to build inside of your mind and use the imagination, anchor in that you step into your circle of excellence so you can be the best you can be. I wrote a whole book called Perfect Enough, and the book's theory is that we have to like who we are now, then if we make any changes, we're just making improvements. But you got to accept who you are now, and when we look in the mirror, say something positive about ourselves. How many people this morning looked in the mirror and said, hey, you look great today and you're going to have a wonderful day? Yes, I got one. That's a good one to practice. That's a really good one to practice. And that is then creating your circle of excellence is ability to make that circle and imagine being it, and that you step into it and you become that person, speaker, anything that you want to do, runner, whatever you're working on. I mentioned that the subconscious mind doesn't hear don't or not. So I teach a word called cancel, controlling your internal and external dialoguing. And some people like to put a rubber band on and snap it when they have a negative thought. So I call it cancel or snap it. My trainer in one of my sports certifications, he used to work for the New York Giants. And he said he taught them this, and they all came to work. They came to practice the next day with a gauze on their wrist and blood on the wrist. And he said, yeah, we put rubber bands on and we popped ourselves all night long. He said, well, I didn't mean for you to do it that much. They pulled a joke on him. They'd put red food coloring on the gauze. And he's like, you should see this whole football team with gauze on their wrist. But snap it works because it gives you a negative response to the subconscious mind to stop that behavior. Cancel is a good way, if you have a negative thought, to say to yourself, cancel. I like erase or delete. A lot of computer people like delete. Somehow have some sort of tool in your brain to stop your internal dialogue if it's negative. Your self-talk. Make your self-talk change. And then I talk about a purple elephant. If you have so much negative dialogue in your vocabulary that you speak by habit every day, and you start practicing this, cancel, snap it, delete it, and all of a sudden you don't have a lot of positives to come in there because you've been negative for so long, I teach you to think of a purple elephant. What's a purple elephant? Absolutely nothing. But what's really funny, it'll pop in your head and you'll go, that lady told me to think that. This is really silly. But what you've done is you've changed your whole demeanor, because in a nanosecond of time, you can change how you feel about something. Each thought you have to have a thought to feel pain. You have to have a thought to feel happy. You have to have a thought to do everything in your life. So cancel and purple elephant are just a fun way of getting you to realize that your subconscious mind is literal and powerful. And reprogramming it becomes a way that you can actually get yourself to do the things that you want. Because the mindset is creating that energy of flow of what we are thinking. I just finished my new book. In fact, I just went to the publishers. It's Hypnosis for Getting Through Illness. And it's all the science. I have 20 pages of reference. I mentioned earlier, there's a couple of people here that they have proven scientifically that with hypnosis and you have surgery, you take less anesthesia and you heal twice as fast. They've proven with sleep, you can use hypnosis to overcome sleep apnea. It helps you sleep better. Think why? It calms the thinking mind down and gets you to habit. Do you know insomnia is a habit? You can change that. So what we want to learn is the self-talk, the internal dialogue. You're always right inside of your own head. What you say is what you become. So negative self-talk creates limiting beliefs about you and your capabilities. Positive self-talk creates who you are and what you want to be, what you want to become. And to change it, you become aware of it. You know, if you say something drives you crazy all the time, oh, that just drives me crazy. That they have proven that it ups your nervous system and makes your blood pressure go up. So every time that happens, you automatically feel that. You can change that. So you should eliminate, I have a whole thing of stinking thinking and negative self-talk that people say. I have pages of it. And it's amazing. I get someone to read that and they go, why, I say that, I say that, I say that, I say that. Become aware of your talk. Write it down and come up with what you can say instead of. Instead of that drives me crazy, that makes me feel good. Now, if it doesn't feel good the first time, by the 21st time you say it, that will make you feel good. Because who wants everything to drive them crazy? So be aware of the stopping of the negative to a positive just takes your awareness. Replace the negative with a positive message. I give out positive messages all the time. I teach about it. And I tell people, get a dry eraser and put one positive affirmation on your mirror in the morning. Make sure it's positive. Went to a friend of mine's house and she was having all these difficulties and well, I'm being positive, Laura. I put one on my mirror. Back then, I didn't know you could use a dry eraser. She was using a lipstick. And I go in there, it goes, failure is not an option. I went, ooh. My subconscious mind doesn't hear not. Failure's my only option. Gosh, cancel, cancel, purple elephant. I held something up over it. I go in there, you've got to change that. Because what is she doing? She's creating failure by her belief systems. What this all means right here, not to call us all old dogs, but we all can change. If you have something that you want different in your life, you can change it by accessing the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is the ability to make that change through accessing it. There are several tools in your paperwork that you can access your own. Please just make sure they're positive. My website is on there. There's a lot of information. Plus, I have a form if you want to fill it out, want me to send you my mail outs whenever I send out. I send out a lot of free MP3s and different things all the time. I don't abuse it. I do like one a month, one every 3 months. And in the process of that, learn more. Open your mind to the possibilities. Because really and truly, we all have an easy button in our brains that we can use. You know that red easy button at Staples? I hypnotize everybody that everything is easier just by pushing that easy button. Now, my Ironman, when he was talking to me about how hard it was to run and how difficult it was, I sat there going, wow, I'm worn out just listening to how hard it is. Why do you want to do it? And I'd helped him with his biking, I'd helped him with his swimming. I said, well, what if I put an easy button on your running? He goes, you are nuts, Laura. He says, don't you realize how hard it is? I go, really? But if you have an easy thought about how it's going to be, it's going to become easier. I didn't say that you had to believe the whole thing was easy, but if you start thinking it's easy, it becomes easier. He said, okay, I believe you've done all this for me. About a month later, he said, I just came back from my Ironman. I had the best score. My run was the best run. He said, you know what I thought about the whole time? How easy it was. I went, yeah. Kind of hypnotized you to think that. And it made his run so much better. You know what his results were? He wasn't injured like he usually has leg cramps. 0 leg cramps, and did the whole triathlon. Ironman, which is the same thing as a triathlon. Ironman, a little harder. So the easy button. I want y'all all to think about the easy button. Put one on your desk. Push it. Had a guy in my class Sunday night. He says, you know, I heard you say that at the last class, and he was at the boat show, and he had all this stuff. He had so much work to do, and he went and got an easy button, and he was on this person's boat helping this guy, and the guy was really negative the whole time, wasn't happy. And every time he had to go do something, push the easy button. He said, Laura, by the 3rd day, that guy went over and pushed the easy button. He said, that makes things easier. Use it. It really helps transition how you think about things. Because all we are is a sum total of the information that we have programmed in our brains, and we can shift that programming to be the way we want it. So if you have something, if you're sad, if you're unhappy, if you're, have things going on in your life, you can transition how to respond to them and handle them better. I can't take away the outside world and fix everybody and everything, even though I'm really attempting to. But if you are equipped with more information, the CD, I want to give you one more scenario about the CD I handed you. It will help you sleep better. Once you start sleeping better, still listen to it some, because what it does, it takes the stress out. When the brain relaxes to a certain point with the relaxation, it releases the tensions that are connected in the brain. Harvard Studies wrote 2 whole books about how hypnosis, meditation, guided imagery slows the aging process and de-stresses you. I'm actually 97. No, just kidding. But it does. They've proven that by that relaxation that the process puts you through, you will defuse and you won't respond anymore, and you won't let stress build back up. Think of your subconscious mind as a pressure cooker, and every time you hit play on the CD, you are letting the steam out. So it's easier to handle things. I have been asked if they can get addicted to the CDs. I said, I don't know. I've been listening for 37 years. And it feels pretty good. And I just want to share. I share my story. I share what I've learned. I want to share because I think everybody deserves the ability and the skill and the talent, and deserves to take care of themselves. And you can do it in the privacy of your own home. I call it turbocharging your brain. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions? Any thoughts about it? Has anybody had any life-changing events that they've used hypnosis for? Anybody? Any thoughts about how you could see hypnosis could help you? Think about this a minute. We only have 1 more minute, so. Any thought of asking me what it could help for? Yes. Yes. That's like nail biting. That's the same thing. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, it helps. You can reprogram that. That's a habit. The question is, does it help getting rid of things to let go if you hold things that you harbor thoughts and you let them repeat themselves to you a lot? You can reprogram them because that's a habit to be that way. The other question was whether it helped from scratching. That's a habit, like biting the nails. Yes? The question is about healing a physical injury. I cannot say that it heals a physical injury, but I can say they're proving it helps heal. I personally was ill for a year of my life, didn't get out of bed with fibromyalgia and autoimmune disease, and I give credit to the hypnosis because I take no medications and I'm fine except for the new little thing I have. But yes, it heals because it de-stresses you. What they've proven with treatment, let's say for cancer or for different things, is that if you go in for treatment and you're relaxed, the treatment has the ability to circulate into the system and do what it's supposed to do versus a person that's all stressed and having anxiety. for treatment. I have a Crohn's disease person that we've worked quite extensively with, and she hasn't had a treatment in 3 years. The doctor says the only thing different is hypnosis, but she's not cured. She's just good. So the answer is yes. Yes. Well, they usually do things in 3 to 4 sessions, but then listening to a CD. The CDs cover all that. Any other questions? Yes. No, it isn't, but I work with everybody from here, and I give you a half price rate. I'm usually $150 an hour, and I offer my services at $75. I also do a lot at the courthouse, the comptrollers, and I've been all the courthouses. I've been all over, so I offer that. It really, right. Isn't it good? She's talking about the rubber band on the wrist, how good it works. She's been wearing it for 2 weeks. She doesn't snap it all the time, but when she does have that other thought, she pops it, and it does. You know it's there, so you become more aware of your control. That's what it does. It really works. So thank you for sharing that. Any other questions? Well, that concludes my speech because I'm right on time, but we do have a raffle. So she's coming down. Thank you. Thank you.